Okay.
So, Lisa, you know how we start the podcast, don't you?
I have heard rumours.
You've heard this, okay. Well,
Don't know what you're going to get at me.
Well, without further ado,
Okay.
social media, social club.
Social media, social club.
I don't really think I can do it.
Welcome to another episode of Social Media Social Club. My name is Josh.
My name is Hannah.
And today we have with us senior content manager and senior citizen, Lisa Gormley.
We've invited Lisa here today because she commonly refers to herself as the oldest woman alive. So who better to speak to about...
An old social media platform from 2004.
That's how it feels in this office. I don't know what to say. You're all babies.
This is a podcast where we talk all things social media culture.
Yes.
And today we're going to be, well, actually, you might notice that we're all wearing dark colours.
Yes.
There's a morose tone in the room, I'm sure you'll agree.
Yes.
Because it's a memorial service for MySpace.
God rest its soul.
Yeah. We thought we would look back in the first, in what could be a series. I think it probably will be a series.
A MySpace series?
Not MySpace series, at least I know.
Obviously, we have MySpace's biggest fan here with us.
There's a lot of dead social media platforms that are no longer with us, sadly, gone but not forgotten. And we want to remember them and see what we can take away from them, what we can learn, what was good about it, what was bad about it, all that kind of stuff. And we thought, we're better to start with MySpace. And who better to ask than the oldest woman in the world? Certainly in this office.
I look
anyway.
good though, right?
Self-proclaimed oldest woman in the world. Can we do some of your little quips that you like to ask us?
Well, like, do you know who the Spice Girls are?
Do you know who Spice Girls are? Do you remember when Smarties had plastic lids?
Do you?
Bear in mind, Hannah and I are almost 30. Like, we're not like...
But I mean, somebody didn't know who Hanson were, so I'm like, right.
Yeah, that's
You
not an
use
age
their
thing,
babies. Okay, is that
That's
ignorance?
relevancy.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
So,
That's sad life.
well, speaking of music,
Yes.
we're going to be talking about MySpace today, the very famous, probably like the first like big social media platform there was, I would say. Like, there was obviously like Bebo and Vine
Awesome.
and MSN and all that kind of stuff, and I'm sure we will cover those in later episodes, but we thought we'll start with the daddy of them all, MySpace. So, as a reformed emo and
Not
old
reformed.
person, Lisa, we would like to start by asking you, what are your first memories of MySpace? What is like the elevator pitch for MySpace, in your opinion?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is a good question. I agree.
There's no elevator pitch because it was as if you discovered it yourself, you know?
Oh my God, that's so hipster.
Exactly.
Great
Although
answer.
in fairness, it wasn't like me, it was my friend Kitty. But she was very seen, is what we would call people that were...
A scene kid.
Yeah, exactly, a
I'll
scene
put
kid.
a picture of a scene kid here.
Yeah.
Like, in
Because
case
I
you
feel
don't
like
know what
Gen
that is.
Z's use it in a different way where it's like, I feel so seen.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
so true. No, scene with a C.
Whereas feeling seen in 2006 was a very different kettle of fish.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll
so
agree.
true.
You're like roar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But so she was quite seen, and she was always using MySpace and taking pictures with her webcam attached to her PC monitor. For
Children
her
should
profile.
be seen but not heard.
Yeah, it was a happy time.
Yeah.
But she was the one who introduced me to it, and it was because we would go on and like look for hot boys.
What age were you at this time?
18.
18.
Yeah, so 2004.
Okay, so you were like, yeah.
I've literally just given the actual age away.
Ancient. Very old. So, yeah, was that when you got it? 2004?
2004, yeah.
And that was when you were 18?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So what were your first like kind of memories of the platform? When did you remember hearing about it, and like what was like was everyone on it at the time?
No.
Because with like Bebo and stuff like that, which is probably the one that I remember best, people were kind of like, most people were on it. It was pretty like, if
Yeah, by
everyone
the
in
time
school
I
had
was
a
on Bebo, I was like, everyone is on here.
Yeah. Was
So-
MySpace like that?
No, not at that time. It felt like it was still a bit of a subculture thing.
Right.
So it was very much geared at your kind of music fans and scene kids, emos. And I don't know if it came off the back of LiveJournal to be honest, which again was a nice creative outlet for people who had a lot of feelings that they just wanted to put out
okay.
there.
Was that like early days blogging?
Pre-Tumblr kind of thing.
Yeah, like exactly. I mean, it was just a blogging site, but you could do it in the open, and everybody could view all the feels and all your poetry and whatever other art you wanted to put there. Written word art only, but it felt like the same kind of culture as that, maybe mixed with like, I don't know if you remember the like kind of the Suicide Girls and these kind of earlier kind of
They still exist.
Do they?
You still get Suicide
I mean,
Girls.
they're not as famous then.
Not as famous, but they were like a big deal back then.
Exactly. So it was more people who kind of felt like they wanted to connect with somebody in the similar culture. Although really it was just trying to be cool, I'll be honest.
So would you like find people on MySpace after meeting them? Like, did it work the way like Instagram works now? You meet people and you're like, do you have MySpace?
So, well, yes, you could do that because you could personalize like your URL. But how it generally worked was friends of friends. So you could view your friends' friends, but you could scroll through pages and pages, hundreds of friends. And then anybody that you kind of recognized, you could request to, be their friend as well. So random people did add you, and people
like
that
Facebook.
I mean, but it wouldn't give you recommendations itself.
Oh, right, okay.
So you had to manually.
Like that, right, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting. So it wasn't so much like trying to grow your like following on there as much, was it not? Or did it feel like certain people were interested in that, but you could just be on there quite silently?
There were definite like MySpace celeb types.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were they like early day influencers then? Would you say?
Very much so. Yeah. But they had very little to work with other than putting out their music taste, their kind of interests, and personalizing their MySpace page.
Well, this is the thing. Like, this is very much still the era of being on the computer.
Yeah.
I think, which is an important era to mark. It's kind of an underrated era. It's like pretty much everyone had internet at that point, probably broadband, maybe like or like maybe not 2004, maybe
Ethernet cable.
Yeah, or dial up at the very least kind of thing. But like that was a lot,
We have
more.
internet at home.
Yeah, But like you'd be on the computer. Like it's not like now where you get Facebook, Twitter, Instagram on your phone or anything like that. Like it was very in your house.
You had like set times that were computer times and like MySpace times then.
Well, I was a student, so therein lies actually one of the problems with MySpace. I didn't really have set times. Nobody was policing me on my computer, so it was very easy for me to be like, study or check my MySpace.
Do you think that led to your downfall?
It certainly led to some sort of dopamine hit addiction.
Yeah.
Because it would be such a thrill when you'd log into your MySpace and new messages, new comments. Friend request.
What do you feel now? Because obviously you are, for people that don't know, as I'm sure most people would, you are quite social media averse in your day-to-day life. But you'd use like TikTok and stuff. Like, what would you do? Is there any social media platform that you like just now that you think, oh, that kind of reminds me of MySpace, or like it gives me the same feeling that I had when I used to go on MySpace?
So I would say no. The point of difference for me was intention in a way. I feel like with MySpace, everything was so intentional. You were searching for that friend and then going in and requesting them. It wasn't passive in any which way. You had to go onto somebody's page and leave a comment on their page. You had to obviously message them directly. Although there was a blog element to MySpace, that was quite secondary. So it didn't feel as much about like broadcasting so much as place for people to find you and interact with you. And then if they were interested enough, if they really tried to find out about you, then they could see a little bit of your self-expression on a page.
It's so interesting how different that is then to like social media now. Is like the actual platforms are pushing so much on you constantly, and they're like, watch more, do this, watch this. Whereas it sounds like MySpace was much more like, MySpace is just there. So if you, it is what you make of it, like you then get to decide whether you want to spend hours on it looking for new friends or like trying to find bands, but you could just go on it and see nothing. So do you get like updates from people or anything, or is it just that you sit and look at your page and make it look nice?
Well, yeah, well, actually, yeah, pretty much. Honestly, it was like a big deal. But, oh my gosh, I've not changed my profile song in a while. People are going to think I'm like totally lame. I don't really like music.
Is that a touch now?
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, you go and find a different Nine Inch Nails song or...
No, like in terms of like profiles that were like fully customizable and stuff like that. Like,
Well, that would depend on your skill set, really.
that's what I mean. Like, it's like people could really put in so much to this, whereas like
Yes.
the Instagram experience, okay, yeah, some really creative people can do all sorts of things like having photos spilling over different like things,
Yeah.
stuff like that. That's really cool, stuff like that. But like that was much more the norm to have it. But like also like if you had something like that, it was very, very cool to have it, and people would pay money to have like their MySpace done up and stuff like
That's,
that.
I mean,
Like,
that's, I find that sad. I would never have done that, in fairness, because although you should learn pretty quickly that coding you can just lift from other people. So I don't know why these people were paying somebody for something they could copy and paste if they really wanted to. But,
So would you call yourself a coder?
oh, totally. No, but I do know very basic HTML language because of MySpace.
Which is actually very useful.
I know, I thought so. So in my previous job, we did do like a one-day coding course, and I was like, I know half of this at the very least. Because
So you've had
I need
half
to
of a one-day coding course under your belt from just
Absolutely.
your youth.
because I needed to be able to put in bold heart shapes in my content in MySpace and have line breaks because otherwise, like, it just looked messy.
That's the thing though, it's like you're saying, it's such more of a passive experience now. Like the content comes to you.
Yep.
You don't really have to put in any effort. It's just there in
Yes.
front of you.
Yeah.
Whereas then there was like rewards to like seeking things out, and I think that the music probably was a big part of that as well. Like, music is obviously like the biggest, probably the most famous thing that MySpace had is like its music scene. There's so many different bands that came out of that, like Bring Me the Horizon, Devil Wears Prada, like, or even like
And they're more recent.
I know Hollywood Undead, Broken Side, and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like,
The big one that I can remember was Panic at the Disco.
Yeah.
So they were very MySpace, and when they were discovered by undoubtedly one of my cool friends, you know, they were playing really small venues, like you're talking maybe like 250 people at the venue. And later that same year, I remember them doing another UK tour, and they got bumped up to like a 3,000 capacity venue because, and actually, I felt bad for them because they couldn't fill the stage the way a seasoned band could. They were just springboarded into like this massive kind of setting that they weren't ready for. They hadn't practiced for. They just had to because of the fan base. But that just came organically through people putting their music onto their profiles and kind of follow the leader effect. But yeah.
That's amazing. It's so interesting because I did not use MySpace, but like in that way, it sounds quite similar to the way TikTok is like propelling artists like out there just massively. And it's the same kind of thing where it feels like they're like just not ready for it. Like artists are getting really famous from like their bedrooms, and then all of a sudden it's like so many people want to see them live, and they've like barely ever done a live performance, so they're just not even prepared for the amount of fame that they just suddenly have through TikTok take them up. Does it feel like TikTok's kind of similar to MySpace in that way, like music wise? It seems like it's a different type of music that TikTok is pushing, or maybe that's just my experience from.
I think generally it's like, obviously everyone's on TikTok, but I think you're right. It's more towards a certain like current tastes kind of thing. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
like popular
like hip
music.
pop music, that kind of thing, like adjacent stuff.
It seems like it's a lot of the like girls singing about people that have broken up with them like, in their
Yes.
bedrooms, like that kind of
So
genre of.
it just
music.
feels like TikTok, and actually TikTok and all sound trends on TikTok now, it's all about relatability to your own life. You need to be able to see yourself in it. Whereas I don't feel like that's how it was for the MySpace music. It was very much like, is this the new, more experimental thing that's kind of building on my chosen genre and subculture?
You know, so I was thinking top 8 is probably top 8 Friends. That was like not just MySpace, other platforms like Bebo and stuff like that had that as well. What was that all about, do you think?
Well, MySpace started it, and actually it was obviously it was a kind of like you wanted to aspire to be in somebody's top 8, so it was a bit to incentivize you to be more on that platform, be more present, wasn't it? Because
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, that's a good shout.
although at the start, which I thought was really interesting, the one consistency in everybody's top 8 was Tom, the founder of MySpace. So he was your number one friend from the very get-go. That was for years. You couldn't take him out of your top 8. So no, but like I actually think that's where some founders are going wrong these days. That Tom was a wee friendly face, just always there. He's your number one friend. And it did just seem like some dude that was like, here, I've just like made something, you guys go nuts, but like, you know, remember me.
I'm
like,
your best friend.
Yeah,
This is me, by the way. But that's the thing. Like, it's interesting how like different heads of different social media platforms have taken on that role. Like, I don't know who the head of TikTok is, but I very much know who Mark Zuckerberg is. I know who Elon Musk is, and I know who Jack Dorsey is. And because I work in social media, I know who the Instagram founders used to be.
yes.
But like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, they're your most famous ones. And they're quite different, but also, I know, quite similar in a lot of ways as well. like very unrelatable. Whereas like as people to most people, I think. Whereas Tom was just like he wasn't.
Just a guy.
Was he saying
Just a
much?
guy.
Just a picture, just like
He had like a whiteboard in the background, some random.
he's doing a big kind of goofy smile, isn't he?
Yeah,
Like, he's just
and
kind of
like
like
just a plain white t-shirt, and like, the photo itself was really kind of lo-fi. I feel like he had like red eye or something in the picture. You know, it wasn't. Yeah,
I'm just like you.
exactly. You genuinely did feel that.
Was there a bigger kind of sense of community then on MySpace, do you think, than social platforms just now?
So I was maybe going to say this later, but I do genuinely think that's one of the big points of difference is that it felt like I said, like Tom was handing you the keys. So he built the bare bones. Then it was like, well, no, but it's your space. So
interesting.
you know, there's that sense of control. Again, I'm giving away a bit much about my personality, of my preference in platform over the.
Lisa is not the biggest fan of Mark Zuckerberg. We'll
Mark, if you're watching, don't punish me.
and you use him as a business suite.
He's going to take you out of his top 8. You're not my best friend anymore.
Oh my God. That was a devastating thing to happen though, when people took you
How
out
did
of the
that
top 8.
impact friendships outside of MySpace, like if you got removed from someone's top 8 then?
I mean, see if it was like a proper friend in real life, you'd be like, sorry, what? Oh my God, I can't believe you're like trying to impress that other person by, you know, who do you think you are? And actually, that then did show you the initial stages of people developing an online persona versus their real life persona.
So we've obviously kind of covered the culture of MySpace and stuff like that. The death of MySpace, even though it's still alive, but the kind of the death, the social death of it. Do you remember, where were you when it happened?
Sorry to bring this up.
It's a repressed memory. It was so slow, really, because it gradually changed to a music-only platform. Well, was it when Justin Timberlake bought it? That it was essentially... Yeah, Justin Timberlake bought MySpace.
I thought AOL bought MySpace.
I mean, maybe they bought it after him.
No, maybe that was Bebo. Sorry.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
But he bought it, maybe with other people, I don't know. And it was then music only, and they kind of, I don't know, they just killed off the profiles as we knew them. But I think by that stage I had got cooler again, and I'd moved on from that.
Yeah.
And Bebo, I don't know what the hell happened with Bebo either, but
Bebo got bought over, and by AOL, and I think they tried to do something with it, and it didn't really work out. So, but MySpace, they spent 120 million to launch MySpace Music, but it was like all buggy, internal kind of issues and stuff like that, and they killed a lot of staff. Not killed. A lot of staff during that time. So I think it was just like the perfect storm. They took a swing and a miss, and also there was like Facebook and all that kind of stuff waiting in the wings to kind of take over.
that's exactly what happened. Because I was just trying to think where I was. I was like, did I have an online hiatus? That's what it was. Everybody moved to Facebook.
Yeah.
I didn't, but I watched them all. Yeah, exactly. I didn't stay on MySpace either. Digital break, I think. But I think the MySpace music, they just missed the boat, essentially. Had they jumped on that 2006.
It was a bit late by the time it happened.
Yeah.
Do you think though that's why it's remained in people's memories so fondly, kind of thing, because there was like music is obviously like a big trigger for reminding you of certain times and places and stuff like that. Do you think that's why it's like more than any other platform?
I think that's part of
revere
it. I think that's part of it. I mean, I think then you probably would find with different age groups, there's different views on it. It's not like you could go to my parents and they'd be like, what? But my who now? But I mean, certainly people my age, there's always going to be nostalgia because that was your intro into like your online life. And again, it was a big form of self-expression and, you know, your kind of your calling card, wasn't it? So part of your identity. Do
you think that's what's missing? The self. I mean, people can express themselves, but like, I don't know. I feel like it's within certain parameters now, like more than ever. I feel like
you are hitting the nail on the head for me. Always. But I do think that's kind of what's missing, because it is platform led now. And this is why, though, that, you know, platforms have niched down, and that's why there's room for new platforms and different platforms. Obviously, they're all still trying to copy each other whenever there's success, but stereotypically, you know, you'll still go to Twitter for a rant. X. Or what's the trail of thought? Instagram for kind of the ideal, inspirational, aspirational life. Facebook is your kind of family, friends, and kind of keep in touch with.
Yeah. Can your parents know about it? Okay, I'll put it on there.
Yeah, exactly. But MySpace was very much, let's say, like it was owned by you, and nobody was interfering with you. You felt like you were choosing to do everything. If that makes sense.
Community led, I guess you would say.
Exactly.
Yeah. What do people call tweets now? X?
Kisses.
That's cute.
That's really cute.
I feel I must call them kisses. All would be forgiven.
Yeah, exactly. Kisses for you. You kiss.
Mark, if you could tell Elon my good idea, that'd be great.
Well, I think that concludes our memorial of MySpace. How do we feel? Do we feel a lot better for having talked about it now?
I hope I did her justice.
Yeah.
I think you did.
Thanks.
We now have time for a game. Are you up for a game?
Oh, if I can win.
Well, Lisa, yours isn't really a game, actually.
Oh, for goodness sake.
What we have here is I've looked up the original MySpace survey.
Oh, right, amazing.
And what I thought would be fun was...
I'm going to do it.
Yeah, you're going to do it.
Yes.
But what I want you to do is I want you to give your answer now versus what your answer would be back then.
Oh my God, I probably published this.
This is a very short version of it.
Okay.
Compared to there's like 180 questions. I have shaved it down to a year.
Honest to God, like ours, it's ridiculous.
Huge.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I would post this expecting people to be...
You were spending hours on it. You're like, what is my favourite?
Exactly. What's the coolest animal?
Without further ado, let's go. So, what was the last beverage you drank?
Water.
What would it have been back then? Monster?
Red Square.
What's Red Square?
Oh my gosh, it's like an alcohol.
Is that a communist drink?
our sound, kind of. No, our sound guy Alex knows. It was an alcopop that was basically Red Bull and vodka.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
So any moment you have just drunk that.
Probably.
Awesome.
Well, she was 18.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Last phone call now and then.
Can I check my phone then?
You can.
Okay. Last phone call. It could be something really boring like a bank. Oh no! Well,
my husband.
My husband. It is my husband. Yeah.
So it wouldn't have been that back then.
Would it have been Vincent back then?
No, probably. I don't want to give away too much of my personality, but it would be like, Dad, I've run out of money.
Husband versus dad.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need a man.
Where's my dad?
Last song you listened to?
Oh, again, it was probably I'm Just Ken. It was. I mean, it definitely was.
Which would be so different to your last song back then.
Exactly.
Sure.
So the last song, we'll say it would have been Shut Me Up by Mindless Self-Indulgence.
Nice. Mm-hmm. Last time you cried? That's
a good one for
this morning, obviously.
Yeah.
Yes.
And back then? That morning, obviously.
Yes, exactly.
Never change.
How many kids do you want? Now, this is an interesting one.
So back then, I would have said 0. And yet I have 2 beautiful children. And I'm fine with that. That's the amount.
That's enough.
Do you want pets?
Yes, I would have said back then, yes, I have a pet dog called Finn.
Nice.
He's a golden retriever. He's the best.
Oh, shout out Finn.
And he's dead. Obviously.
Oh, R.I.P. Him in MySpace. Finito Morley.
Oh my God. You're so lucky I'm over this. Like,
anyway. Now, this is another good one. Do you want to change your name?
here, you did that. I can't afford pets now. Right, go ahead.
Do you want to change your name?
When I get married,
Yeah.
actually, so I would have said yes back then, and I have technically changed my name, but I do regret that. Like, not, I mean, I'm glad that I have the same name as my children, but I really miss being
really
Lisa
love
Barry.
your maiden name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to know my MySpace URL, by the way?
Of course I do. I should have
It
asked
was
that first.
myspace.com/Barry Big Balls.
Barry Big Balls. That's what you do. So here we have, I'm Josh, I'm Hannah, and here we have Barry Big Balls on the show.
So if you had given me infinite amount of time to guess that, I would have never ever landed there.
Everybody has a past.
Yeah.
That's not usually what people mean when they say that. I went by Big Balls 20 years ago. This is just one. Name something you cannot wait for.
Oh.
Maybe not.
Oh, I know. Oh my gosh, that's so bleak. That's terrible. Josh, I'm just trying to live in the now. Like,
Okay, and what would you have said back then? Transformers 1.
Rev.
Rev? What
Yeah,
was
that was a rock night at the student union.
that? Perfect. Okay. Do you have a crush on someone?
I mean, now I'm having to say Tom Holland, aren't I? Even though apparently that's creepy. But I didn't
creepy.
watch Billy Elliot. I didn't know of him then.
You didn't know, okay.
No.
Who would it have been back then?
Not Tom Holland.
Please don't say Tom Holland, Lisa. I'm begging you not to say Tom Holland in 2004.
Stop. No, Trent Reznor.
Trent Reznor, okay, classic. Strong or weak? I thought this one was really interesting. You're pretty strong just now. Were you
I
weak
like
back then?
I like to identify as strong, but since you beat me in an arm wrestle, like it's kind of.
That's true. I'm just very strong, that's all.
I wouldn't say weak though. I've never say weak.
No.
So
Good.
just go strong.
Nicknames, obviously we know Barry Big Balls.
I also used to get called Flea. Why am I telling you this? Yeah.
Is that oh, you mean Flea? No, Big Balls, yeah.
Oh, do you know Flea? No, Big Balls.
I'm happy to end the podcast on that one, to be honest.
Okay.
That works for me. So Lisa, before we go, do you have anything you want to plug?
I don't mind being recognised on the street for our TikTok. So
Oh, you got someone took a picture with you the other night, didn't they?
Yes. Did that get posted anywhere? Because
I don't
all right,
think
okay,
so.
good. I'm not postable then.
It's in the Guardian. It's in the thing.
The broadsheets.
Socialite Lisa aging socialite Lisa Gormley.
So that's
Spotted out in the town.
that's at We Are Hydrogen on TikTok.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for joining us for
Thank
another
you.
episode of Social Media Social Club. Thank you, Hannah, as well.
I've been Hannah, you've been Josh,
I have been.
Crazy.
She's been Barry Big Balls. Thanks, guys. Until next time. Bye.